Have you ever been in a place you fought so hard to reach, only to be told you still didn't belong? Picture this. You're standing outside in the pouring rain, looking at a building you own, and every bit of your dignity is on trial. That's exactly where Adrian Bennett found himself, not just a black CEO, not just a self-made man in aviation, but a living contradiction to every stereotype. Now, facing blatant disbelief right on his own turf. It's wild, right? Adrian had a choice: fire back, or stay calm and let the weight of his entire journey do the talking. What would you do? Drenched, humiliated, with strangers watching and judging. Would you shout? Or would you play the long game? This isn't just about power or money, it's about what you do when your very existence is challenged. It's about courage, about standing tall in the face of something ugly, and refusing to shrink, even for a second. So let's walk into that storm with Adrian Bennett and see how one moment of indignity set off a chain reaction reshaping a company, inspiring a workforce, and sparking a shift in what dignity and justice really mean. Rain hammered the Carter Metropolitan Airport, drumming on the blacktop like it had a score to settle. Adrian's suit was plastered to his chest, water squishing in his once immaculate Oxfords. All he wanted was to board his company's Falcon 8 XA routine, right? But not today. Today, every step felt like a test. Victor Langston, the lounge manager, stepped up with a voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Sir, step aside. People like you don't fly on this jet." It wasn't a question. It was a verdict. Adrian froze, jaw clenched, eyes unwavering. He could feel every stare, every calculated smirk. Monica Fields, the head flight attendant, stood behind Victor, arms crossed, eyes narrowing, looking Adrian up and down like she was measuring him for a fall. Isla Ortiz, the youngest ramp attendant, just watched from the doorway, clutching a clipboard, heart pounding knowing this wasn't right, but feeling powerless to say so. And out on the edge of the tarmac stood Darius Cole, the ground supervisor, his whole career a lesson in keeping his mouth shut, keeping his job. But even he couldn't look away. The air was thick with something unspoken, and Adrian felt ill of it. Victor demanded his boarding pass, turning it over and over, inspecting it like he'd found evidence of crime. "Step outside while I check." Not a procedure, but a punishment. Adrian didn't argue, not because he accepted it, but because he understood sometimes silence is the sharpest tool you have. He stood in the rain, letting it soak through his socks, his bones, even as memories surfaced childhood slights. Store clerks accusing him, years of being measured and found wanting. But instead of breaking him, it steeled him. This wasn't new. It was just one more test, and he was done letting other people write the story. What Victor Monica didn't know was that Miles Carter, a ground tech, was nearby quietly filming everything on his phone, catching every sneer, every microaggression, every glance. Evidence. Because in this era, the truth can travel further than any lie if you're patient enough to document it. Monica couldn't help herself. "You don't look like someone who could afford seat 1A. It wasn't just an insult. It was an attack on everyone who'd ever been told they were less. Isla's hand shook. Darius's shame grew heavier. But Adrian? He stood, not shrinking, not flinching. Rain pouring down, his tie flat to his chest, eyes steady. This was patience. Not weakness. Knew the real storm hadn't hit yet. Victor tried again. "Head back to the commercial terminal. This isn't your place." Each word was another stone thrown. But Adrian remembered it had been the boy who walked home in Chicago, slumped under the weight of others' words. And he'd promised himself never again. Not today. The rain came harder, tension thickening. Every second, Adrian calculated his next move. Isla, Darius, and Eva Miles felt the moment stretching out. Something big was coming, even if no one knew what. When Adrian's phone buzzed, it was his COO and sister, Sierra, He stepped closer to the plane. Voice calm, send the convoy. Bring the executive team, legal, HR, and security. We're handling a crisis. No panic, no rage, just the steely control of a man who'd had enough. Sierra replied, cool as ever, on it. Want law enforcement? Adrian shook his head. Not yet. Let them watch. We want this documented. Undeniable. The shift was immediate. Victor's confidence wavered. Monica's smirk faltered. Cassandra Reed, HR manager, kept typing on her tablet. But the delay in verification was all self-preservation. When the convoy arrived, black SUVs screeching up, headlights slicing the Rhine, it was like flipping a switch. Out stepped Sierra, flanked by legal, security, HR. Adrian didn't have to say a word. Victor tried to bluster. You call backup? We've got this under control. But everyone could see he didn't. Monica's voice, suddenly thin, tried to reassert dominance. We know who belongs here. But Adrian's calm was unshakable. With evidence in Miles's hands, the truth was out. He turned to them. You were recorded. And the documentation is already with my executive team. You waved through a white passenger without question. Your procedure was selective, biased, and meant to humiliate me. Explain yourselves. Monica stammered. Cassandra tried to blame the system. But the weight of truth was too much. That's when Isla finally found her courage. He's right. I saw it. It wasn't proper procedure. It was wrong. Darius added. I stayed silent. But that was a mistake. Their words cracked the last bit of resistance. Adrian looked at Victor, Monica, and Cassandra, and, with the storm now more inside them than outside, let them go, terminated on the spot. Escorted away. But it wasn't just about firing a few people. Adrian turned to his staff, the ones who'd spoken up and the ones who'd learned the cost of silence. Isla, you're promoted. Darius, you're now regional director. Miles, your footage is the foundation for our reform. With Sierra's help, they rolled out anti-bias training, an anonymous hotline, and AI-powered communication monitoring systemic change. Not just lip service. In the days and weeks that followed, the company changed. Employees talked openly, honestly about their fears and regrets. Training sessions became safe spaces to admit past mistakes and to plan new paths. Courage, once rare, became contagious. Adrian's story spread an example that you don't have to shout to change a culture, but you do have to act. By the time Adrian stood before the company in a sunlit auditorium, he looked out at a sea of faces, some still anxious, some hopeful, all forever changed. He reminded them, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the right thing despite it. Every voice here matters. And from this day forward, silence will never be an option. So, the next time you see injustice at work, on the street, anywhere, ask yourself, are you willing to stand in the rain and hold your ground? Because real change doesn't start at the top. It starts with you, with all of us. If this story moved you, share it, like it, and subscribe for more. Because courage is contagious. And together, we can build something that no storm can wash away.